Hey, what's up guys? Pete Moriarty here. Today I'm going to take you through a much requested what is on my desk and what computer do I run through. Now this is part of our playbook, the remote work playbook, taking you through all the things you need to know about how to work effectively from home, how to manage your team from home. And if you don't yet have access to that, please go ahead and check out the links below. Get in touch with our team, get access to it. Our playbook is an 8-week webinar series where we're covering everything from team management to task delegation to what technology tools you need to have at home to get everything set up and rocking and rolling. If you're a business that's been running remotely for a long time, great, kudos to you. We will help you optimize and get even more out of your team and make sure everyone is working through the challenges that are afoot at the moment. But if you're new to remote work, then absolute no-brainer. You should be jumping on this course as we teach you absolutely everything we know from running a remote team for 5 years. So let me jump straight into the content now and share with you what is on my desk. So I'm going to take you guys through what my actual desk actually looks like, so you can get a bit of a feel for how I work at home. Because I get lots of questions about, like what's the best monitor size, like should I have a stand-up desk or a sit-down desk, what internet connection do I need, what Wi-Fi connection should I have. I'm going to take you through some of the basics. So without further ado, let's jump in and I'm going to share what's on Peter's desk. All right, let's go ahead and jump in. So this is a picture of my desk that I've got here, which is pretty raw, so just ignore that, guys. And this is actually a stand-up desk, as you can see. One of my favorite things to do is to use a stand-up desk. I've got a bad lower back. Stand-up desk is definitely not mandatory. We'll go through that in a second, but it certainly helps if you're comfortable with it. So you'll see down the bottom there is I've actually got a microphone that sits right below the screen. And above, I've actually got a webcam, a little bit hard to see, but I do also have a webcam there. Apart from that, there's pretty much nothing else on the desk. Like I like to keep it nice and tidy. I've got a couple of little fidget spinners there, which kind of keep me busy because I've got a little bit of an ADD brain. But basically, that's where I work from, and I like to keep it as simple as possible. Now, you'll see down there, there's actually a PC with lights and all that kind of stuff running. That is not actually my machine. That's a gaming PC that I do use from time to time, but I switch the monitor input to that. The machine that I actually use every day is a Chromebox. And so Chromebox is a Chrome OS device. And let me go ahead and open up a photo here for you. So this is a Chromebox. This is what it looks like. This is one by ASUS, and itGenius sell these. So jump on the link to our website below if you're interested in a Chromebox. But these are lightweight machines that run Chrome OS. And so what you get is a Chrome browser, but everything else that you expect from a computer: Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, a little bit of local file storage. Most things are done on the cloud these days, so you don't need much. USB inputs. You can connect, headsets and microphones and whatnot. You can connect external USB cards. But these are low cost and highly powerful machines. One of the best things about Chrome OS is there's actually no viruses. So there's no known exploits for Chrome OS. It's extremely locked down, and it uses your Google credentials for your logins. So it works really great if you've got a team perhaps offshore and you want to ship them machines. These are low cost, very powerful machines. They support dual screen and everything else that you would expect, although you can see there I've got quite just a wide screen that I use. But these are really, really great machines for business. We've got some other videos on our YouTube channel on why you might consider a Chromebox and what the advantages are of those. But that Chromebox actually sits up and behind my computer screen. So behind the computer screen, the Chromebox is actually mounted behind that screen. So it's a really, really tidy setup. And I've actually now moved the PC to a different room in my house. So that's no longer there. So it's literally just a screen on the pole, and you can see there it's quite tall. Now, I'm 6'2", and so if you're using a standing desk, the easiest way to work out where to put the screen and where to put the keyboard is the keyboard should be at about elbow height when you're standing, and then the screen should be at about eye height. So I'm 6'2", and so the screen is pretty darn tall. Makes it hard for anyone else to use the machine, but that's how I like to have that set up, and that's the best way to orient a standing desk. There's heaps of resources out there if you're interested in standing desks or making the switch, but I have found some resources to share with you if you're interested in potentially switching to a standing desk. Now, number one, and most people completely miss this and forget about it, is an anti-fatigue mat. So you really, really need one of these. This is essential if you're going to be standing, because what this does is it cushions your feet. It's best to stand on it like barefoot or in socks if you're somewhere cold. And what that does is it lets you actually relax the feet and they can kind of move a little bit. It strengthens the muscles as well. And it's just really helpful for you, keeps the blood flowing. So if you're standing, you have to have an anti-fatigue mat. Some people who've worked in hospitality may be familiar with these. They're set at the back of bars and those kind of things for people who stand all day long. Without this, you're going to have a bad experience with your back and your ankles and your feet and everything else standing. So make sure that you have one of these. You can see there they're pretty affordable. This one says there's only 2 available. People are probably using them at home at the moment. Anyway, make sure you grab one of them. Next up is if you've got like a normal sitting desk and you want to switch to a stand-up desk, you can grab something like a Varidesk. I've just Googled this one here. You can even pick them up on Gumtree cheaper if you want. But these are a way of turning your sitting desk into a sit-stand desk, so you can go up and down. Of course, the third option is to go to IKEA or to Officeworks, although their stock are pretty low at the moment, and pick up a sit-stand desk which is motorized and goes up and down. Personally, I haven't bothered with that. I switched to a stand-up desk about 8 years ago, and I just haven't looked back. So I'm really comfortable just standing all the time. But for someone who's transitioning, if you go straight to a stand-up desk, you may find that you get tired by 1 or 2 p.m. and you need to have a lie down or chill out on the couch. And I still find that from time to time. I'll sometimes use like a bar stool behind the desk, but usually I end up like on the couch with my laptop at some point during the day just to have a bit of a rest. But apart from that, for the most part, I'm actually standing as I'm working away. Okay. So back to my work desk. What else can we see there? So we've got the keyboard and mouse sorted. We've got the screen there. Screen. That's what I wanted to talk about next. So plenty of people ask, well, Pete, what's the best screen size and what should I be using? Now, I'm not really a fan of multitasking. Trying to do 2 things at once doesn't really work. However, running a remote team, you'll quite often find that you'll be on a video call with your team and needing to make notes or share screen or do something else. And so in that case, it makes sense to have a bit more screen real estate so you can do both of those things at the same time. So that means being able to be on a video call, and for me, typically it's making notes in Asana, and I'll want to have both of those up and in front of me. Now, any old monitor can do that. If you've got a 24 or a 27-inch monitor, you're going to be able to fit 2 things on one screen, but it might feel a little bit cramped. And so one option is what I've got here is to actually go for a QHD screen. So this is not a full HD screen. It's like a full HD screen and a half. So it's called an ultra wide. And this is not prohibitively expensive. I think this was $400 or $500. And what this allows you to do is have enough screen real estate so that you can have a video call and actually be able to see people properly. But then in the middle there, you can have your notes or whatever else, whatever other work that you want to do. Now, one of the tips that we have for remote work is something called co-working sessions. And that's where you and someone who's on your team will actually just open up a Hangout or a Zoom call and co-work together for a period of hours. It might be 3 hours, it might be 4 hours, but you just basically keep that video chat going on a persistent basis. Now, if you've got to be making client calls and that kind of thing, well, you might mute your microphone and just kind of like see each other, but unmute when you've got an opportunity to chit chat. But what that does is if you do those, let's say maybe once a week, it gives you the familiarity of working alongside someone. And so if you're someone who's worked in an office and you want to have that familiarity with your team member, that's a great little tip there to feel like you're really connected while you guys are working together. So that's one little tip there. And for that reason, I like to have enough room on my screen so I can have that video call going, and then I can basically do the rest of the stuff on the main screen. So that's the reason why I go for that nice big monitor. Now, webcams, they're in short supply at the moment if you're looking to buy one at the time of recording this video, but anything from Logitech is probably going to be good. Make sure it's 1080p, a couple $100 to get. I think their latest version is called the Pro Stream or the Stream Pro, and that one will give you a great looking picture and do automatic light adjustment. It's a bit hard to see it because my screen has overexposed the image here that you're looking at, but that is it. Cool. All right. So other things that you can see in the office there, not much else. I've got a little Google Home, which is nice for like controlling the music and those kind of things. You can see that I've got a desk phone there as well. Honestly, it is seldom used, but if you are a subscriber to Dialpad, and that is our cloud-based phone system, that allows you to make calls from your computer, make them from your mobile phone, and basically from any device that you're operating on, make and receive your business phone calls using a local number. Now, for those that have transitioned to home work, you don't want to go and pick up your mobile phone and start dialing on your mobile number to all your customers, because what happens then? They get your mobile number, then they want to use your mobile number all the time, and that just becomes a little bit of a mess. So we have an issue where we need to make business calls, but we don't want to rely on our business mobile all the time. What we're able to do is to actually use Dialpad on the mobile, and it also runs on the desktop. Now, why then would I have on my desk here, why would I have the phone there? Well, the phone is there for if my computer's locked and I'm in another room and the phone rings and I need to run into the room, I don't want to have to, type in my password and then open Dialpad and put my headset on, or, I've got a microphone there, so I don't need it on this computer, but it just becomes a bit of a pain. So being able to grab that phone, sit down and have a yarn, that makes it nice and easy. So that's the reason I have the desk phone there. If you're considering Dialpad with our team, ask them about desk phone options and they'll ship you one for a test drive, but that's a good idea to have there. That's about it for my workstation. And so next we can cover off things like the network, and they're the next questions that I get from everyone who asks about working from home. Let's talk about your network. At home, if you're based in Australia, ideally you want to have a fibre connection, and that means NBN. Now, if you're on a NBN plan right now and you're connecting via a coaxial cable, the old Foxtel cables, or maybe you're even on copper cables, right? The old Telstra ADSL cables, you should at least have better speeds than what you did have previously. And I know, different sites in different suburbs have different varying levels of quality with their NBN. I totally understand that, respective of that. But consider what plan you're on right now and perhaps consider bumping up. Like, I'm usually on a 100 megabit plan. What that allows me to do is put all my files inside of Google Drive and not really have to worry about the bandwidth going up and down. I don't really have to worry about being on a phone call using Dialpad, while others in my household may be using the internet for their own streaming or their own work as well. And it means that if I'm using something like Google Hangouts, I've got the best possible quality for the use in Hangouts, because I've got a big team. I want to have high definition videos with everyone. I want to make sure that I've got good quality video happening there. So that's super important for you to jump on to the highest plan that you can afford, because that's going to make things just that little bit better overall. What it also means is that if you have speed issues, your ISPs will have a guarantee of the amount of speed that you're guaranteed to get based on what plan that you're on. And if you read the fine print, most ISPs will say that they guarantee to give you 60% of the speed 90% of the time, right? And so if you're on a higher plan, you have a bit more of a buffer with having more guaranteed bandwidth available. I know that's not always going to happen, but you have contractually more guaranteed bandwidth available based on the plan that you're on. Some ISPs will even prioritize their higher paying customers, even on residential plans. They will even prioritize those customers over the customers that are on the lower plan. So it pays to pay the 100 or 150 bucks a month to get a better plan. I am a big fan of TPG. I've recommended them for a long time. I know they're not popular in the IT industry because they're seen as the cheap option, but I've put TPG into literally hundreds of our customers and never really had a major problem with them. And I've been a personal customer for over 10 years now. Even when I was way back in canoe lands in rural Sydney on ADSL 1, I was a TPG customer, and I've always been very happy with them. So once you've got your internet connection sorted, it's really important to have a look at the modem and router that you have there in the actual house, because if you've got something that's a little crappy, and most of the ISP modems that they supply you with are pretty crappy, then that can actually be a bit of a kink in the chain for you getting a solid internet connection and having a solid home workspace. Now, if you have issues with, let's say, dropouts, or when you have too many devices on at the house and you need to unplug and replug your router from time to time, that is a sure sign that you're having issues there. So if you are interested in a router that is going to be a little bit more resilient, then have a chat to our team. We have some Cisco Meraki devices, very, very cool devices. Let me show you really quickly what they allow us to do. What they allow us to do is to actually monitor and check your internet connection remotely. So you can see here that we have all of the information on our clients that are here, so I can see exactly how much bandwidth was used, and if you've got more devices in the house, you'll see all of those devices kind of spiraling through here. But basically all of those allow me to see exactly what's going on in the network, and I can see there from anywhere, and this works basically on the cloud. My router's always reporting up to the cloud. I can see if there are bandwidth issues or if maybe there's an issue with the ISP. From time to time, there's actually an issue where there's packet loss or dropouts, and I can actually report that back to my internet provider and actually make sure that I'm pointing the right finger, so I know that it's something that's on their end and not our end. So if you're interested in something like that, or if you're having any kind of internet issues, jump on that chat link below, chat to our team, and we can certainly help out with those. And then the last one is, how do you get the connection from that router over to your machine, and how do you make sure that that's actually useful and working and going to be robust for you? Now, my absolute strongest recommendation is to not bother with Wi-Fi. Make sure that you're connected with your primary machine in via a network cable. Most modern houses now will have plugs in the walls where you can route Ethernet cables. That's my number one recommendation. But I know that not everyone can do that. And so in lieu of that, go ahead and pick yourself up Google Wi-Fi. Now, I'm not just playing the Google fiddle here. It's my job to play the Google fiddle for 95% of my life. But let me open up Google Wi-Fi here and tell you a little bit about why this is so important. Oops, I've opened up Kogan Wi-Fi. I don't want that. I want Google Wi-Fi. Here we go. So Google Wi-Fi is a mesh system, and what Google Wi-Fi does is puts, let me try and find an actual clean picture. Here we go. What Google Wi-Fi actually does is puts points in each room of your, or not each room of your house, but in multiple rooms of your house. And what that will let you do is actually broadcast your Wi-Fi signal so they all talk to each other and make sure there's a well-blanketed signal across your house. Now, this is different to just having a repeater, because what a repeater does is it just daisy chains. So if you've bought like a $100 repeater from JB Hi-Fi, that takes the initial signal and every link that it goes down, it adds latency and it adds dropouts, whereas a proper mesh system is intelligent in that each one of the points talk to each other and intelligently route the traffic. One of the other things that these do is if you move about the house, like maybe you're on a Facebook call or a Wi-Fi call and you're walking about with your mobile phone, it will actually pass your phone from point to point intelligently so that you're actually getting the best signal no matter where you are. Now, the third advantage of this is when you're actually working on one of your machines, if you've got a computer, what you can do is you can take a network cable out of one of the secondary points and plug that cable into your computer, and you're going to get really, really rock solid connection. And for someone who's spending a lot of time on video calls, if you're working with your team remotely, that is absolutely mandatory. You never want to have dropouts. You never want to have a flaky connection. So if you have to use Wi-Fi, this is the absolute best way to do it. Now, this one is a little bit expensive, $500. I still actually use the first generation of Google Wi-Fi, so you can pick them up on eBay. It's going to be a little bit cheaper than this. The new generation has Google Home built in. So if you've not yet added Google Home to your house, then these, which used to have to be bought separately, you actually have them built in on the new Google Wi-Fi. But I've actually got an old Google Wi-Fi here. This is what the older one looks like. But these work just as fine. Basically, the speed is already there. The only thing that these don't have is the combined of the two. So if you've not yet set up Google Home all through your house, like I have, then maybe you go for the newer generation. If you've already got a few Google Homes, then you can probably pick up one of the older sets there. Now, the great thing about these is it means that you're just not going to have dropouts anywhere in the house, and your mobile devices, your laptop, everything else is going to be nice and sweet. Okay, so I've covered these off. Final little bonus one for you guys. So when you are done with your home setup, I wanted to share with you guys my setup for on the road. Thought you might be interested in that. So when I'm on the road, I've got my Chromebook. Currently, I'm rocking a Google Pixelbook, which is probably one of the best Chromebooks that you can buy right now. But there are some newer models that are coming out, which may be tempting me to change. This one's a couple of years old now, and the battery's starting to slow down a little bit. But also, I've got an iPad Pro there that I tend to use for my video calls. Now, the Pixelbook is fine to do both a video call and notes, but often when I'm traveling about, I tend to spend all day long on meetings, and it's just a bit fatiguing only having half my screen for the work while I've got the other half on a video call. And so that's why I will use an iPad Pro. You can pick up a secondhand one of those if you don't want to go and splash out for a brand new one. I've actually got the first generation and I love it. And so I use the iPad Pro when I'm on the road for everything, and then my laptop for Asana and everything else. Got a pair of Bose 700 headphones there, which are Bose's latest set of noise cancelling. They are really great. They're not the highest level of audiophile level headphones, but they're super comfortable, and for long periods of time they've got an amazing battery that lasts like 3 days. And so I made a business decision to stick with the ones that weren't the best sound quality, but were still pretty damn good. And then finally, for my home setup, I've actually got another piece of the puzzle, and that is my Hangouts Home Kit. And so this is a Chrome for Meetings kit. And what this is, you can see there's a little box there just under the TV above the speaker. That's actually a Chrome box, but it's a special kind of Chrome box. And what that does is it has a microphone and speaker. It has obviously a high-def webcam, and then it connects to your TV via HDMI. And what that does is allows you to basically have a boardroom level video conferencing, professional video conferencing setup right wherever you're working. Now, I tend to use that in my little mini office that I have at home. I've got a dedicated room that I use this for because I've been working from home for so long. I wanted to have this kind of setup. And you can see here, I'm sitting down on the couch working through my Asana on my laptop while we have the team that are up there on the screen. This must have been a planning session because I can see all of my leadership team in one room. So I think that was probably one of our quarterly planning sessions. So this is a great little unit. Now, this is a little bit more expensive than some of the other stuff that I've shared. I think it's about $1,500 for the Chrome box and the microphone kit and all that kind of stuff. But if you are a business leader and you're spending a lot of time on meetings, it's really nice to be able to just sit down on the couch, click one button on the remote. It comes with a remote, by the way. You click one button and it just joins any of those meets that are sitting on your calendar. And so if you can't imagine what that might look like, let me go ahead and share with you what that looks like. You basically see the Meet screen. So if you're using Google Meet, you would probably be familiar with this, which is meet.google.com. And it actually shows up all of my meetings just on the Meet screen here. That's basically what you see on your TV when you're using the Chrome for Meetings. On that TV, you can just click a button on the USB remote, and that will Bluetooth remote, sorry, and that will automatically bring you into your meeting. And you can change volume and other bits and pieces from there. So that's it for this video, guys. I want to share a little bit more about what we're going to be covering in the video coming up for our members this Wednesday. So if you're not yet a concierge member, head along to itgenius.com and you can buy it straight online if you want, or if you want to have a chat to a team, just pop in your details and they'll be in touch. They'll do an audit and a review of your business, check out exactly where you're at and make sure that we are a good fit to provide value to you, because we don't allow anyone in unless we know that we're going to be able to share awesome value with you. But once you're in and a member of Concierge, you'll get access to our 8-week playbook series. And this week we're going to do a deep dive on healthy at home. And so not only are we going to cover off some of the more nitty-bitty tricks of this stuff, how to set up your home desk and that kind of thing, and the ergonomics and whatnot, we're going to go through how can you make sure that you are actually on top spec with your own personal performance. I've been studying personal performance for a long time, and that doesn't just mean reading one Tim Ferriss book. There is a whole world of personal performance, and I've learned from some of the best coaches in the industry on managing and tweaking and getting the best out of my personal performance. So that's one of the things that we're going to be covering. We're also going to be going through what are all the things you need to make sure that your team have set up for their own remote work. And so you want to make sure that the team also have the right kind of setup as well. And so if your team have the right setup, then they're going to be able to be productive as well. So we're actually going to share what our policy is. We've got a work from home technology policy that we share with our team. So you'll be able to cut and paste that policy and share it with your team if you like. That'll give you a good idea of what kind of computer specs and all the other bits and pieces that are needed for actually working at home. And then what else have we got on the list here? Oh, how to not kill your family. That's a good one. If you're stuck at home and you're maybe your family's working at home as well, how to make sure that you don't completely have your relationships fall to pieces with everyone cooped up in the same space. I've been working at home for a long time. My partner works at home as well. And so how do we actually manage that? I'm going to be sharing my life tips, Pete's life tips for how you can actually work at home. And I think that's about it. Finally, we're going to cover your own energy and your own body management. So don't worry, I'm not going to give you a 6-week abs program, although if you're interested in that, definitely let me know. But we are going to take you through how you can make sure that your body is healthy. And I'm like every time, just going to be sharing what I know and what I've experienced and what I've learned along my journey. I don't profess to be a guru in any of these areas, but I do love sharing what I've learned. And I am quite a bit of a researcher, so I tend to come across good stuff. Make sure you check out the links below if you're not yet a member of our Remote Revolution, it's called. That's our group all about remote work. And then, of course, we have our G Suite community for G Suiters who want to get more out of Google Cloud. Till next time, peace. See you guys. Cheers.